Nick called you OJ-like the other day.
I saw it, and I've got one of the guys on the team commented on it on Twitter and everything. It was pretty funny. And I'm not quite OJ, and I know that. Don't want to be, but I just want to do my job, be Miller Forristall.
Do you take that as a compliment?
Of course. I mean, OJ's a great player, great guy, and I respect him a lot. So it's a compliment.
What was last season like for you? Kind of being thrown in the fire right away and playing a pretty significant role as a freshman.
Last season was a lot of fun. We're trying to move on to this season. Last season was last season's, and it was what it was. We're trying to move on and be better, be a new team.
How are things different at the tight end position under a new offensive coordinator?
Playing tight end, still playing tight end.
Right.
We still block, we still catch passes. You can't really change the position, in my opinion.
How much do you think the involvement of the tight ends will maybe increase given Brian's experience with the position?
Obviously, when he was with the Patriots, they had a lot of opportunities there, and I'm hoping we can get some opportunities here. Hopefully, get a little carryover. So. Yeah.
What have you seen from Panunzio?
He's a very experienced coach. He's been over the league, he's been here, and he has a lot of connections. And that's exciting, and he's a great coach and a great person. He told us day one, you ever need anything, you let me know, I'm here for you. And that meant a lot.
How do you embrace blocking? Because at Alabama, you're not going to play tight end unless you block.
I think that's part of the position. So you play tight end knowing you got to get your hands dirty. And yeah, I mean,
did you do much of that in high school?
Not a whole lot. That's been a transition here, and last year with following Hale a lot. Henches, he's a really, really good blocker, and I've kind of watched him and tried to do what he does.
Is that something they tell you when they're recruiting you, like, hey, if you come here, you are going to have to block more?
Oh yeah, I mean, I can watch TV and figure that out. But no, I mean, I like blocking. I have nothing to get down, getting my hand dirty, and I think it's fun. So.
What was the biggest improvement you made from last year to right now?
Moving on to the next play. I think a lot, and so when I can move on, I become a much better player from the last play to the next play.
Miller, what do you think of just the overall talent of the tight end group?
I think it's a very talented group. Between Hale's a very, very good player. I think Irv Smith's a very, very good player. And Major, the new guy we brought in, and Ronnie Clark's also a really good player. He works hard. He's going to get his job done. So I think we got a really good room.
Nick made it seem like they're going to utilize a little bit more of an H-back this year than maybe they have in the last couple. What do you think about that position? He even mentioned you as possibly working on that a little bit. What's the challenge of that, and how is it different than maybe a normal tight end?
Just you having to know both the H and the Y position. So you got to know the Y and the H, and that comes more stuff to learn. And I think that's the challenge playing the H and the Y.
Yeah, going back to what you said about moving on to the next play, were there times last year where maybe you had a hard time with that?
Maybe that, or just in practice, where you're like, oh man, I messed up the next one, I got to move on to the next play. And just keep looking forward.
Practice.
Yes, sir.
Has anyone helped you with that?
Again, following Hale, he's been a really good guy to look up to, blocking, catching the ball. He's a really good player.
How much is you came in with Jalen? How have you seen him progress as a player, as a passer, just even in the last few months?
I mean, as last year, I think we all saw him progress a little bit from the first game to the national championship game, and he's a really good player. And I think he's also progressed with new coaching and a new staff in the last couple weeks.
How much have you watched New England and what they did with their tight ends? With, especially Gronkowski and yeah.
A lot. I mean, you grow up, you play in tight end in high school and stuff. Of course, you watch Gronk and you watch Tony Gonzalez and those guys. But now, his coach is here, and that's pretty cool. We have all their film. We get to watch it. So that's a lot of stuff to study.
Any good Gronk stories? Any funny ones?
Not yet. I'm hoping for a couple later down the road once you get to know Coach a little better.
Nothing you'll be able to tell us.
Probably. Yeah.
Miller, I'm sure you've matched up with Dylan Moses on the freshman linebacker. Just what have you seen from him, and how tough of a matchup?
I think he's going to be a really good player. He works hard, and he's a really smart kid. And I like him a lot through the fourth quarter program. He worked really hard, and he'll sit there and push you, and I like him a lot.
You mentioned H and Y. Are you playing equal amounts at both, or are you more H? Or
it just depends what we're doing for the day, what Coach has in mind. So,
is there a difference between the two? I mean, obviously they're
not really. You can play the H here, the Y there. It's they all move around.
How much is versatility stressed during practice? Just being able to be both.
I think it's stressed at every position. The more positions you can play, the more valuable you are, in my opinion.
Who's the toughest guy to block on that defense for you?
They're all pretty tough to block, but I think Deshaun Hand is he's pretty good. He's really strong. I think he's improved a lot as a player, so he's going to be a force to reckon with, in my opinion.
What do you have to do to play in this program as a true freshman, mentally, physically?
You really got to know the playbook. You got to spend your time extra. You got to come in ready. I think having a really good high school coach helps, to be honest. Being in a good program and coming in early helps me a lot. Not saying it's necessary for everyone, but that helped me a lot.
How much did your experience as a quarterback help, especially with the transition to kind of a versatile position like tight end?
I think it helped a lot. Being able to understand the defense, understand why this route runs there, and why this concept we run it against this defense. I think it helped a lot.
Still throw it?
Excuse me?
You still throw the ball around a little bit?
After practice a little bit. Fun.
So no trick plays?
Not yet. I'm trying. Not yet.
Somebody's got to take over for Ardarius.
That's what I'm saying.
You've gotten bigger, huh? How much?
I've put on a couple pounds. I haven't grown much. I'm still about 6'5", but I put on a couple pounds.